Okay.
There she is.
Yes. Right on time.
Right on time. Hey, Dr. Tiff, how are you?
I am just awesome.
For those of you that don't know, there were some technical difficulties right there, but Dr. Tiff made it seem like there wasn't. She just slipped out, came back in.
Yeah.
It's already been another week again. Folks, welcome to our live stream. My name is Jim, and this is Dr. Tiffany Marie. And we do this live stream every single week. And Dr. Tiffany, I don't know about you, but I'm very proud of what this is doing. Every single week, I feel like I'm hearing more and more and more from people that this is actually impacting lives and really genuinely helping people. And I love that. That is the coolest thing on the planet. So I guess two things. Kudos to us, but really thank you, Dr. Tiffany, because for those that don't know, Dr. Tiffany doesn't get paid for this. She just comes in and lends us her expertise. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you. And thank you to all the people that show up and tag people in and contribute to this, because it truly is a community in trying to get this done.
It is. It takes a village.
Yes.
So, folks, my name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And when I say that I used to be a type 2 diabetic, I mean 100%. I used to be a type 2 diabetic. I had a 12.2% A1C. I now have a completely unmedicated 4.8% A1C. I've been unmedicated for about 2 years, a little over 2 years now.
Awesome.
I had really bad cholesterol. And I say really bad cholesterol, the term came to me yesterday like dead man walking kind of cholesterol, 459 LDL. That's dead man walking, right, Dr. Tim?
Yeah.
So with a 12.2, I was really swinging for the fence in a sport that you don't want to swing for the fence in. So anyway, I went on to the usual suspects, all the medications that you would expect to go on when you're as sick as I was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I really want to emphasize what I'm saying there. As sick as I was, a sickness, not a disease, a sickness.
Mm.
And do you like that, Dr.
I like that.
It was a sickness. I was very sick. And I went on the usual suspects. Statin medication, I was on 40 milligrams a day, which is a max dose of rosuvastatin calcium for my cholesterol. I was on 2,000 milligrams of metformin, which everybody does, which really just means I was taking up extra stock in Charmin toilet paper. That's what metformin does. And then I was on a 4.5 milligram pen of Trulicity, which is the GLP-1 receptor agonist that I was on.
Right.
That's similar to Ozempic and Mounjaro in that same kind of class. And then I was also on a blood pressure lowering one, but all of those were max doses, and I was 44. And it was kind of like, hey, this is going to be for the rest of your life. That's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And then I came across this program, and truth be told, I thought it was a gimmick. I've been pretty loud and outspoken about that. I thought it was a gimmick. Like everybody else, I was a skeptic. Skeptic. I'll believe it when I see it. Well, I started the program January 4th, 2023, and on February 16th, I got a call from my endocrinologist saying that I could quit taking my type 2 diabetes medications. The Trulicity, I was done with it. It was amazing. 43 days. And I started talking about this on TikTok, and I've had no fewer than 100 people now say that they have reversed type 2 diabetes. Wow. Something that was once a chronic and progressive disease that was unattainable. It's no longer, I don't see it as a chronic and progressive disease. I see it as a symptom, sickness. I was sick. I was very, very sick. And while I'm still not 100% where I want to be, I'm far better off than I was before. And I'm just working at it every single day. Anyway, enough about me. Dr. Tiffany, would you tell everybody about you? They'd rather hear.
Like, how in the world did I end up here too? Well, you know what? I am a real doctor. I just don't play one on social media. I've been doing family practice medicine for about 20 years. That's what I decided I was going to do after I came out of medical school, because I wanted to make an impact. I want to take care of children to the elderly, everybody, right? And I got in the rat race. I like to call it the pharmaceutical rat race. I was prescribing prescriptions. I mean, I was like a prescription meal. You had this condition, you had diabetes, you had blood pressure, you had cholesterol. I knew what were the first line medications to prescribe you. And I did that. That's what I was trained to do. I mean, I was hitting all the metrics. I was doing all those things, but my people didn't look any better. And so at some point I said, now, wait a minute, there's got to be something more than this. So I actually decided to get certified in lifestyle medicine, which is about going after the root causes of conditions. And that's when I started getting on social media because I figured nobody knows about this. I'm not hearing this. So let me get on Facebook and start talking. I started talking and I got connected with a mutual friend, and she was like, hey, look at this program. See if this is something that might help your patients. And I gave it a try, thinking, one, she's just trying to sell me something. But when I was able to get off of my blood pressure medicine after 2 months, when I was able to help my brother get off his insulin and take him out the ICU, get him off of his Trulicity, his metformin, help my mom, as it turns out, reverse her diabetes because she wasn't trying to claim it, but she had an A1C of 6.4 and it's now less than 5.7. I'm like, Mom, we reversed your diabetes. And so that type of stuff. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm screaming from the rooftops, and so excited that we get a chance to do this every week.
I love this. I love this. And what kind of, I want to kind of peel back a layer of the onion real quick. You're 20 years in the medical field, and your brother was insulin dependent. And how long you been doing this? For a year or two? 2 years? 2 years?
Really, about a year. Really.
And your
January
brother's no longer insulin dependent. Have you ever seen anything work like this before, doctor?
I haven't. And that hurts my heart because I really wanted to. I wanted to with all the lifestyle changes trying to teach. I just didn't know the tools.
That's powerful. I hope everybody heard that message. That's very, very powerful. So if you've been invited into this live stream, as in if somebody has tagged you into this live stream, we're going to lay this all out, how this thing works. And if you're sick, you should listen. If somebody has tagged you, invited you into this live stream or shared this live stream with you, that means that they care about you. They just think that this could benefit you, and you should listen. It's only an hour long. It's not too long. And there's going to be a bunch of great information. More than the great information, there's some great testimonials backed up by a clinical doctor, by Dr. Tiffany Marie. This is an amazing live stream, so stick around for it. If at the end you decide that you want to purchase the product, just get with the person who shared this live stream with you. Just get with them. They have a link. They have a referral link. It's a membership thing. They have a referral link. Use their link. You will get a lifetime discount to the manufacturer. They will get a credit for referring it out. And, in a couple, 3 weeks, a month, if you decide, hey, man, this stuff is amazing, I want to tell my friend about them, put them in front of us here. So with that being said, if you are the excited person, somebody who's had some sort of a life-changing experience, like so many of us have, and you want to share this with somebody, all you do, if you're on Facebook, just hit that little @ symbol and start typing their name, and it will tag them into this. Same thing on TikTok, same thing on all those things, all those platforms. Just do the little @ symbol and share it out. And I want to emphasize, right now we are live on TikTok. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram, Twitter. We're live on like 15 different platforms right now. And this live stream weekly gets thousands of people watching it. So if you are wanting to share this with somebody and they don't have a TikTok or they don't have a Facebook or something like that, it's out to a lot of different platforms. Just share it with them. Last week, we had an amazing conversation. We had 2 different ladies, amazing people who had just awesome journeys with their thyroids. Doctor, have you ever seen anything like that? I mean,
no, absolutely not. I mean, Crystal's story talking about how her antibodies were like, what, over 1,000?
Over 3,700.
Yeah. And then after she, And then after she was on the product, she did say about a couple years, though, she was able to get it down to less than 9, which is like not detectable. So that's freaking crazy.
And if you want to see that, if you've got somebody who has a thyroid problem, it's on both my YouTube as well as Dr. Tiffany Marie's YouTube. So while we're there real quick, you can find me on every social media platform as The Healthy Pitmaster, just like I am here, The Healthy Pitmaster at The Real Jim BBQ on every social media platform. Dr. Tiffany, where would they find you if they wanted to?
Dr. Tiffany Marie on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Thread, TikTok.
Everywhere? Okay.
Everywhere.
So, Doctor, we've got some pretty amazing testimonials. I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about Chandra at all. And I don't think you know much about Jamal. So, who's up? Who's up, Doctor?
Well, you know what? Why not, Chandra? Ladies first. Ladies
I love
first.
it. I love it. I love it.
Hey.
Hey, I figured she's up for the challenge. So,
Oh yeah.
oh yes, this lovely lady. I mean, one, she's got a health background when she's going to share. She's got a understanding about weight loss, and you know when you meet people and they just seem to get it, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're like my sister. I didn't know I had. We have so much fun, and the fact that she's able to come on here and I'm busting her out her shell, I'm excited because she's got a great story to tell about why she even thought about these products. So,
I'm really excited about this because what little I did talk to her right before the live stream, she said she's really shy and she's never
yeah.
done a live stream. So everybody, let's kind of give her a clapping sound or a clapping emoji or something. Hi, Chandra. Tell us your story.
Okay, my name is Chandra Fuller. I live in Alabama. I have a athletic background. I played collegiate basketball, and I was just used to training and just running, diet, and everything. And then I started having a family. So two boys came along, and so I started neglecting myself. Weight just started creeping up, just creeping. Oh, I was a tight, probably about a tight 180, and that was muscles, when I was playing. So I am 6 foot on the 6 feet tall, um, uh, for basketball, 5'11" normal. But yeah, I was, I had a tight body and everything, and then life happened, and I started gaining weight. I started going over 200, low 200s, mid 200s, upper 200s to 300. I was over 300 pounds a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Yes, over 300 pounds. And that, along with just knees, my knees were, tore my ACL in college. And just all that extra weight, it didn't help anything. So a couple of years ago, I had the gastric sleeve. I lost down probably 80, 90 pounds. Did pretty good. Lost it kind of slow, and then I was and then some things happened and I lost a little bit more weight, and then I just started going back to my old routine: stress eating, sugars, salt, fast food. I was really busy grabbing food to eat. And so I was like, I had met Dr. Tiffany. Oh, when was it? I've known you, what, over a month, maybe 2 months?
Yeah.
Through a friend, she called me. I talked to Anne Marie. I talked to Yvette. And I was like, I don't know, because I'm the one. I'm the type. I really want to know more about stuff before I really talk to it about my friends and my Facebook friends and family. So one day I'm gaining this weight back. What am I going to do? And I was going to go to one of those clinics and get me a shot. Well, the O shot didn't do. I suffered very bad, terrible constipation, uh, pancreatitis symptoms. I believe, I know I had it because I was hurting so bad. So my stomach was hurting so bad. Um, I went to the emergency room. I left work
Oh
and
man.
went to the emergency room, and I was constipated. And so I was like, I need to do something. So I was going to try the other shot. And then I was like, well, hold up. All right, I'm going to pay $300 or $400 for this shot. I've been talking to Dr. Tiffany. Why don't I invest in me? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. I just came to a breaking point. I was tired. I was like, I need to do something different. So I called Dr. Tiffany up, and here I am. For me, it gives me more energy. It changes my mood. Um, um, it changed my mood to the best. To the and put it like that. Um, um, Skin. I just to see a glow. Um, my skin, and I feel pretty good. I really do. I feel pretty good. Um, so that's where we're at. I've probably down 8 pounds, but it's slow pounds, and that's what we need. Slow, nice and slow.
I want to kind of build on something here. Dr. Tiffany, and I see this a lot, a whole lot, like an alarming amount. People who have the gastric bypass surgery, the sleeve, they do that, and then 10 years down the road, they're back in the same problem again. It's like it came back. They thought it was a permanent solution, and then it came back. Does that kind of sound about right, Chandra?
I've seen people that have, lost and it stays off. But if you don't get down to the root of the problem of why you're eating and everything like that, you will gain it back. Mine was stress eating. I was really, really stressed out, and I was just snacking. I had always had some candy, something crunchy in my mouth. So
Yeah. The data is actually about 50% after about 5 years regain the weight back. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
Because the surgery is what made them make the changes, not actually them fixing some of the cognitive behavioral things like the stress eating and actually making the smaller portions. I have a good friend that we talked about all her options, and that was the best option for her. And this was about 10 years ago, way before I knew about this stuff. She's kept all her weight off. And so much so they want to put her in some article about it because it's that unheard of.
Right.
So unfortunately, yeah, that is a problem. And so I love to see that we have something that can help somebody who, like Chandra, it's actually gone back and they need more help controlling things again.
Right.
Yeah. Chandra, I love that story. I'm sure you already know this. I'm probably preaching to the choir. Consistency. Be consistent with the product and you're going to see results. If you don't mind, Chandra, what I do typically is I'll shut your camera off, but I'd like you to kind of hang out backstage, if you will. Okay. I want to bring you back out at the end of the live stream to take questions from everybody. If they have any questions specifically for you, or if anybody asks just a general question and you've got a good answer for it. So do you mind kind of hanging out for us and coming back at the end of the live stream?
One question. One thing, Jim. Yes. Okay, so Chandra downplayed this. She was like a for real basketball player. I mean, where'd you end up playing, Chandra?
Alabama. Roll Tide Road.
Yeah, and how many award teams were you on?
I was on the first and only Final 14. Is that what you asked?
Yeah. I mean, she was a for real sports athlete. And so I was talking about this with my trainer today, how these athletes, they are used to their exercise fixing everything. So when they stop doing the activity, they don't really fully know how to put things back in control. And so this is not an uncommon thing. So it's so great we have tools that help that. So I want to highlight that one because she was downplaying her greatness. And I'm all about highlighting everybody's greatness. You know me.
I played some collegiate basketball.
Yeah.
At Alabama.
I know.
Yeah, little school over there.
Yeah. No biggie.
Okay. Awesome. Well, okay. I'll bring you back here in a little bit, Chandra. Dr. Tiffany, as usual, will you give us an education?
Oh, yes.
Tell us what's going on in here. How does this thing work for so many different things? I heard her mention skincare. Her skin is better. Ooh, and I've heard that a lot. Well, I've heard Brittany talk about that a lot. Adult acne gone. I think my skin looks amazing. What are you laughing at, Dr. Tiff?
Because you make me laugh. It does. It looks great, Jim. It looks great.
Wonderful.
I'm ready. Oh, man.
Where's it at? I don't see it. It hasn't popped up on my end.
No,
there it is.
Not yet. Okay. Oh, man. You know, never a dull moment. We laugh here. We understand. Laughter is healthy. Okay. So what's the problem, right? The big problem is that 93% of Americans are struggling with bad cardiometabolic health, and they don't know it. And I'm going to go into more detail what that means. But what Big Pharma has done and what the medical community, they were trying to fix this problem by prescribing statins to actually decrease cardiovascular risk, but it only does that by 1%. And then what we found out is that actually by changing your lifestyle, you can improve your risk by 39%. 1 to 39%, there's no competition in what you should be doing first. And then type 2 diabetes is right there. One of the conditions that is in this umbrella of cardiometabolic health is one of the main ones that we know about. And 1 out of 10 people have it. And then 1 out of 4 don't know they have it. And then pre-diabetes, before you get type 2 diabetes, when your A1C is 5.7 and above, that's really 1 out of 3 people that are walking around with it. And 9 out of 10 don't know they have it. But the bigger issue to me, which is just bothering me every day I wake up, is that still 30 years later, when this was first found out as the number 1 cause of death, it still is the number 1 cause of death. I mean, yes, people stopped smoking. Yeah, we did that whole low-fat foods and all those low-fat snacks, but this is still number 1. So it means whatever we were teaching, we, the medical community, the health coaches, the physical therapists, everybody, whatever we were teaching did not fix the problem. Why didn't it? Because we weren't getting to the root. We were giving people all these medications like my lady here, and we weren't really getting to the root cause. And we kept telling people that, this would have to be your lifestyle. This would have to be your life forever. But really, your genetics are just like a land you are actually given, and how you till it, how you take care of it is going to make the difference with what kind of crops you yield, whether or not you're going to end up dealing with these chronic conditions, these so-called chronic conditions. You are not bound by your genetics. The other part of this is that 50% of the world is dealing with insulin resistance, which is at the root of those metabolic conditions. That's why you see it here in the center: diabetes, heart disease, cancer, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, the number 1 cause for infertility for women, migraines. I mean, even the psoriasis and your skin conditions. I mean, acne. We have pictures of people who have their acne reversed. I got rid of my old lady acne. It happens. Okay, what's important for us to understand are the symptoms that mean that we're dealing with insulin resistance. Skin tags, that's a great one. Those tags that are flapping on your neck, under your arms, on your trunk, on your thighs, even on your face. That is not genetic. That is not something you get just because you've gotten older. That is because insulin is overgrowing on your skin. And it's even going to make those dark patches on your neck as well. That's not dirt. Those cravings for sugar and salty, yep, insulin resistance. Really, because your poor cells, since insulin's not pushing glucose into them, your cells are getting hungry. So they literally are crying out. And that's why you want to eat. Difficulty losing weight, the irregular cycles, like I already mentioned, high blood pressure, that weight around the midsection, around the organs, the visceral fat, because that is what takes us out of here and puts us at risk. All these things, thyroid disease, like we heard about last week, fatty liver, like we had in our call this week. And so what is insulin resistance? When we talk about that, insulin is a hormone. It's not something that you have to take. We all have this hormone. But unless you have beta cell dysfunction, like a type 1 diabetic, you don't make insulin, you need some extra help with insulin. But unfortunately, type 2 diabetics, that's become a treatment. It's to give more insulin when you are already insulin resistant. So that's already a problem there. Insulin has many functions, but we're going to talk about how it delivers energy into the cells, and it stores glucose as fat, excess glucose, okay? And then resistance, this is when your cells don't really listen to the insulin anymore and don't let that glucose come in. And so, simply what causes insulin resistance? Too much insulin in the bloodstream. What causes too much insulin? The things we eat and drink. I mean, stress plays a role here too. And where does insulin come from? So your insulin is released by your pancreas, and that happens anytime you eat, especially when you eat carbohydrates that break down into a good amount of glucose. It happens with protein because it breaks down to a little amount of glucose. And there's a negligible amount of insulin that gets released when you eat fat. And so a simple little graph here to kind of show what happens in your body. So when you first wake up, your insulin level is at baseline. It's fairly low. You've been sleeping all night. Maybe if your last meal was at 8 o'clock at night and your first meal was at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's 12 hours of fasting. So by the time you wake up, you're doing pretty good with your insulin levels. And then you have your first meal. And for most people, that first meal is carb heavy. Oatmeal, cereal, French toast, pancakes, a muffin, right? So that's going to break down into a good amount of glucose and make you have to release a lot of insulin to use that glucose. And then because you had a high carbohydrate meal, you're going to have a little bit of a crash because you're going to overshoot with that insulin. And your cells are going to be screaming, I'm hungry again. You're going to want that high again, that hit again. So you're going to have something sweet probably because that's what you're going to grab, or that's what's easy to get to, and your insulin level comes up. Then lunch, same thing. A lot of times we have those carbohydrate-ridden lunches, the sandwiches, the wraps, the burgers, right? And that kicks up your insulin level again, and then your snack, and then your dinner, and then, oh my goodness, if you have dessert. But what happens if you look at this, your insulin level doesn't get time to come all the way back down to baseline where it started. It's bathing the cells in insulin. That's how they can become insulin resistant. And what is the problem with carbs? I don't like to alienate any food group or villainize any food group, right? But the problem here now is that our carbs are processed and the fiber has been stripped out of them. The white rice doesn't have the fiber like we need it to. These things were supposed to have fiber to help us to dampen the effect of this glucose, of the sugar that it gets broken down into, so it wouldn't kick up our glucose and kick up our insulin. But we need the fiber for other things too, for weight management. It helps you feel full longer. I talked about the blood sugar control. So it gives your pancreas a break. It doesn't have to release as much insulin. And so your cells can become more insulin sensitive. I like to say, honestly, it's not your fault entirely because Big Food was out to get us. They made these foods with these additives, these colors. They look pretty. They look attractive. They have all this sugar in it and they are addictive. Yeah, they kick up a dopamine spike. We want that hit again. We get a low because the insulin brings our sugar down and we're like craving for that high again and we reach for that sugar again. That's why you can't eat just one. That's why when you put that box of cookies and leave it on the counter, you end up coming back to it. That's why. It's not entirely your fault with willpower. It's the addictive nature of this sugar that's in these foods. And so 5 things you can do immediately to try to combat this problem. Well, one is trying to eat more of a low glycemic index diet. And that would mean trying to eat foods that have a little more carbohydrates in them when you do have your more fiber in it when you do have your carbohydrates. But another way to look at this is to focus on eating your protein and your veggies first. Like when you go to a restaurant, don't reach to the bread basket. Don't reach to the tortilla chips. They're not your friend. They're going to actually spark up that whole dopamine response thing to where you're going to want to keep eating them. And that's why restaurants do it. So that way you overeat their food. They know that's going to get you going and put you in that carb eating cycle. So don't do it. Ask for your salad first. Tell them to leave the bread and the chips. Don't bring them to the table. Don't bring them to the table. And then the processed foods, I've already said it's not real food. Don't eat it. Nobody needs to eat that. Resistance training, doing some sort of muscle training. It does not have to be lifting weights. It can be Pilates. It can be yoga. But we need our muscles to strengthen and lengthen. We need that. It actually breaks down the glycogen stores in the muscle and it brings that glucose into the cells so you aren't releasing insulin and bathing your cells in insulin. And then the fiber, like we were talking about, you want high fiber because that way you can cover these carbohydrates that you eat, helps with your digestion. And then fasting. Oh, I love fasting. And I know everybody doesn't love fasting, but the reality is you already fast when you're asleep. We're just asking you to add a little bit of time to it. It's really not that much. And if you have something that helps you do that, would that be worth doing? Especially when you get these types of results. So if you fast past the 16-hour mark is what they're agreeing upon, that's autophagy, where you get cellular repair, cellular cleanup, and you repair the broken parts of those cells and make like super cells. Great thing is there's things that can actually improve or make it easier for us to do those 5 things. And one would be improving your natural GLP-1. Like Chandra was saying, she had already been on the shots and she was just about to try another one before she decided, nope, I'm gonna give this a try. And one thing about when we boost our GLP-1 naturally, it helps with reducing cravings, balancing blood sugar, and improving digestion. Unfortunately, with these shots that Chandra was referring to, it comes with baggage. That's how I like to say it. It comes with side effects. You know, the stomach ache, the nausea, the blindness, the thyroid cancer. I have this lovely lady who's been using these products and she's in the gym and she's somebody that's really working on her fitness because she's competing for like Miss Fitness, right? And she's been on the shots before. And she was like, oh my gosh, I love this because what this is like the shots without the nausea and the stomach pain. I was like, oh, great. I didn't have that experience to be able to share that with people. But the other problem with doing the shots is after a year, you can lose your muscle, you can lose your bone. We know you don't lose those things with using the natural products we like. And the other problem is the whole point of why you take these things is to cut off your cravings. But after 2 years, those things start creeping back. That's a problem. So trying to do something that boosts this naturally is the best course of action to at least try first, right? It has chlorogenic acid, ferulic acid, theobromins, saponins, and you know, we know how our science guy Jim over there goes into detail with these. So I'm gonna leave that to him. And then the short chain fatty acids and the soluble fiber, that soluble fiber gets in the gut. And what it does is it releases a product that decreases inflammation. So the reality is you can't eat all the vegetables you need to get the help you want. You need about 30 grams of fiber a day to actually compete with cholesterol medications, but you need the whole rainbow. You got to eat the rainbow of the veggies. And you got to do that before they go old in your refrigerator. So, of course, like I said earlier, why am I speaking up? We have studies, we have science. I get testimonials. We're helping people. It is just way too much fun. So much so that I am a superhero and I keep doing this every day, keep saying it, keep seeing myself this way as I keep hearing all the results people are having. Um, and why not keep doing what we're doing, Jim?
I want you to go back to that superhero chick. I love it.
I know, she's so cool. You did
I
that
especially
before.
love how you're like, it's you.
I know.
You're so cool.
I know. I'm glad you see.
Only you
my
could pull that
vision.
off. I could not pull that off. Dr. Tiff, you're amazing. I appreciate that. I think everybody appreciates that. Thank you. And yeah, I think I do want to kind of dig into some of the science today. I'm feeling kind of geeky, so I think I'm going to dig into a little bit of the science. But before I do that, I want to bring out Jamal, this guy here, and of course, my mouse died going into this, and I've got a MacBook, and this little thing, the trackpad, I hate. I have to have a mouse, and it's dead. So now, if I'm really stumbling, it's because I don't know how to do the trackpad. Not this. So, I need a.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, can I do this part? Yes, I can. There it is. What's up,
Yay!
brother? Oh, he's frozen. Jamal, you there? Uh-oh. Well, at least it froze with him on a good picture.
That's not usually what happens to me.
Okay,
I'm just-
well, I think adapt and overcome. I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and I will jump into some science right now. How about that? While we're waiting for Jamal's connection to connect. Jamal, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but try and reboot maybe or reboot your router. That looks like he just left. We'll get him back in here. So what I'll do while we're waiting for Jamal to kind of reboot his router or something, let me jump into some of that science that Dr. Tiffany was talking about. I love this. So let's see. I'm going to start with sharing just a couple of screens. I like this one right here. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so hard without my mouse. Bear with me. Okay, so this is NIH.gov, National Institutes for Health, specifically PubMed Central. And this article right here, assessing the link between statins and insulin intolerance. So here's the deal. Dr. Tiffany was just talking about insulin resistance. And I want to kind of build on that a little bit. We don't want insulin resistance. Well, this right here is a systematic review. So it kind of looks at all of the research that's ever been done on statin medications and insulin resistance. And you know what they found? The included studies had a total of 46,728,889 participants. The findings suggest that the use of statins is associated with a decrease in insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance. This systematic review provides evidence that the use of statins may have an adverse effect on insulin sensitivity and increase insulin resistance. That is pretty powerful. That means that those statin medications could be causing the very problem that we're trying to get away from. This study right here, oh my goodness, it is so bad. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. I wish I had my mouse. Statins and the risk of type 2 diabetes. Again, from PubMed Central, you'll notice this was published in September of 2023. So this is not that long ago. And as we scroll down, I just think this is pretty powerful information here. If I can find it, bear with me. We're getting close. I feel like we're getting close. Concluding remarks. In a meta-analysis of 15 observational studies, the risk of incident type 2 diabetes was 55%. In 4 individual studies, the risk of incident type 2 diabetes was from 36 to 48%. And the U.S. Veterans Study, 21 to 22% for low and medium potency statins like pravastatin and fluvastatin, and 34% for high potency statins like simvastatin, atorvastatin, rosuvastatin. So I was on rosuvastatin. This is showing that there's a definite connection between statin medications and insulin resistance. This study talks about type 2 diabetes, the connection's there. So what do? If you have high cholesterol, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about this study right here. Let's go. First off, let's go to Google and ask Google, what is the top heart hospital in the United States? And Google will tell you the Cleveland Clinic. And the first article that comes up is this one here. And they say the Cleveland Clinic with a score of 100 out of 100. There's another one here that ranks, this was done last year by Statista, and it ranks Cleveland Clinic as number 2, right behind Mayo Clinic and right in front of Mass Gen. Doctor, all of these are very reputable facilities, right?
Yeah.
Now this, boy, I'm really clumsy, guys. I apologize. It's because I don't have my mouse. Unicity Balance, our fiber supplement. Well, this supplement is a patented blend of 7 different plant-based fibers and a multivitamin. The combination of the two. So it's got things like guar gum and citrus pectin, and it's got 7 different types of fiber, plant-based fibers, but it's paired with this multivitamin. So it's got a full B complex. It has vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, riboflavin, thiamine. That right there, that combination of vitamins and fiber, that's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
If we come back over to PubMed again, you'll find this study, fiber and multivitamin combination therapy. You'll notice this is a clinical trial. It was published in Metabolism, the journal Metabolism. This was done in September of 2002 is when it was published. This was a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. That is kind of what you're aiming for. Double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. It was peer-reviewed. It was published in Metabolism, and it has been cited more than 20 times. If you click on that link right here, you can see the actual Metabolism, and you can go to download full issue, and that is what this screen is. Boy, it's so hard without that mouse. I'm just going to complain about that the entire way home. This is the study.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice from the preventative cardiology section of the Cleveland Clinic, this was 2001, it was published in 2002, and the fiber blend composition and dosage. The fiber tested was BioSlife 2. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. But what you'll find is, and this was done at the Cleveland Clinic, by the way, lowered LDL, lowered total cholesterol, lowered triglycerides, lowered overall body weight. It improved everything. It improved everything. So much so that they concluded, and I'm going to see if I can make this highlight. Nope, I can't. Of course I can't. Such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs.
Mm-hmm.
The Cleveland Clinic, America's top heart hospital, suggested more than 2 decades ago that BioSlife could be a potential, could potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Statins. That's the Cleveland Clinic. That's not just anybody. That is the Cleveland Clinic. So why do I bring this up? And what am I talking about? BioSlife, right? Because I thought we were talking about balance. This is a packet of Unicity BioSlife. Mm-hmm. This is available in like 50-something different countries globally. Unicity BioSlife. It was developed by Rexall Pharmacy in the late 80s, 35 plus years ago. Developed by Rexall Pharmacy. That's what they studied. In the United States, we call it Balance. You'll notice the similarities. This is the same product. It's just called Balance in the United States. It's called BioSlife in Australia. Mm-hmm. Okay? They are one and the same. Now, Balance, if you ordered today, you don't get a package like that. Now you get a package like this. Balance has been shown to reduce cholesterol. Could potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid lowering. But there's no reason for me to glorify that. That's what they said. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing, they studied it at the University of Sydney, Australia. Let me bring that page up. Why do I bring up the University of Sydney, Australia? So this is an article that I found on Mayo Clinic's website. And what it is, they really just talk about what is the glycemic index. And you'll notice that second paragraph down, the glycemic index ranks foods on a scale from 0 to 100. The low end of the scale has foods that have little effect on blood sugar levels. The high end of the scale has foods with a big effect on blood sugar levels. So what that's basically saying is we want to gravitate towards foods that are lower. We want to avoid foods that are higher. Now, foods that are lower look like green vegetables, most fruits, raw carrots, kidney beans, chickpeas, and lentils. I would argue that most of us probably don't eat enough of those. Foods that are high, things that will spike our glucose, and then, of course, spike our insulin, are foods like white rice, white bread, and potatoes. We probably eat that every meal, if not, 3 times a day, every day, and probably have done that for 30 years. That's why we're getting sick. It's not a it's actually easy. Okay, so if I come over to Google and ask, what is the home of the glycemic index? That glycemic index I just showed you from the Mayo Clinic, their description of it, what is the home of the glycemic index? The home of the glycemic index is the University of Sydney, which is located in Sydney, Australia. Specifically, it is the part of the Human Nutrition Unit at the University of Sydney, which is located in the School of Molecular blah, 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 right? If you go to glycemicindex.com, it will take you to the University of Sydney, Australia. If you hit the About page, it will talk about this lady. Her name is Professor Jenny Brand-Miller. She is a doctor. She's been published more than 250 times on the topic of carbohydrates, glycemic index. This is what she does. She is the best in the world. Why do I bring up Dr. Jenny Brand-Miller and the University of Sydney, Australia? Well, guess what? Dr. Jenny Brand-Miller studied the effects of BioSlife. This is her, Dr. Jenny Brand-Miller, at the University of Sydney, Australia for unicity. And the 3 foods that she studied were white bread, white rice, and mashed potato. The same 3 foods the Mayo Clinic talked about. In each case, it lowered the glycemic index from high to medium. It literally just made a bad food better. Is it like eating vegetables? No, but it made it better. And that's the deal. It literally made it better. Dr. Jenny Brand-Miller, University of Sydney, Australia. Now, they studied it a second time. This time they gave test patients white bread, which is a 100 on the glycemic index. This, by the way, was 2011. Why has nobody heard about this? You would think that this type of groundbreaking research would be common knowledge. 2011. Right. This is 14 years ago.
Right.
Anyway, they found a 20 to 28% reduction in blood glucose. If you just went to Google and asked, how much does metformin lower your blood glucose? It'll say 25 to 30. These are very similar numbers. University of Sydney, Australia. They also observed, because Dr. Tiffany just showed us that insulin is the problem, well, a 13 to 27% reduction in blood insulin levels. Now, let's talk about the physician's desk reference. Dr. Tiffany, would you just tell us real quickly about what is the physician's desk reference?
Mm-hmm. Well, it used to be a book that we actually paid a lot of attention to. It came to our offices, big old huge annoying book, but now it's actually on the internet, pdr.net, and anybody can look it up. But what it does is it has the prescription medications written in there, their side effects, the whole reasons why maybe you shouldn't prescribe them or why you should, dosing, all of that. But what's cool about these products we like is that they actually are in there as well. And things like, GNC, Metabolife, all those other types of things, they aren't in there. Herbalife's not in there. But these products are. So that sure does speak volumes.
As a doctor, what does that do to you? Does that lend any credibility to you as a doctor, the fact that they are in the PDR?
It does say something.
Okay.
I think it does.
Unicity has 19 different products in the PDR, guys. Mm-hmm. The only way you get into there is if you've got actual clinical validation, proof. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes it gets compared to something like Metamucil. I like Metamucil as an example because Metamucil is owned by Procter & Gamble. 2 years ago, Procter & Gamble netted $88 billion in revenue. If Procter & Gamble wanted, they could just buy the PDR.
Right.
They could make it Procter & Gamble's PDR. They could write a check, boom, done, it's now theirs. What they can't do is buy Metamucil into it. There's not the Metamucil does not occur in the PDR.
Sure it doesn't. I even tried it though. I tried to give it to my patients because I couldn't give them any of these products and tried to see if they would get their cholesterol down and check them after 3 months. Not a lick, no movement.
Oh, I love that. And actually, really, if you dig into the Cleveland Clinic research, what the Cleveland Clinic did was actually they compared BIOS Life to a single source fiber, which is
something like them.
Something
Metamucil.
like Metamucil. Okay, so how does this system work? Well, we've got two different teas. I didn't dig a whole lot into the teas. We'll cover the teas maybe next week. But you've got two different teas. The teas, I can't not talk about the teas real quick. Let me just real quickly talk about the tea. I feel like I have to, but I also want to get to Jamal.
Yeah.
I want to get to Jamal, and we're running a little bit tight on time. So I'm going to kind of breeze through the teas.
No.
This study right here, again, on PubMed, this is PubMed Central, official website of the United States government, was published in October of 2023. Yerba mate supplement exerts beneficial, blah, blah, blah. But you'll notice it was done by Dr. Ben Bickman. Dr. Ben Bickman is a professor of cell biology and physiology at Brigham Young University. This guy studies insulin resistance. That's what he does. He pays particular emphasis to the etiology of insulin resistance. This is his career. Now, why do I bring that up? That study that he published on the tea, Unimate, showed that Unimate increases the efficiency at which we burn fat. It made us a better fat burner. But in addition to that, Dr. Bickman also observed that it increased GLP-1 production. The very thing Dr. Tiffany was just talking about, GLP-1, the tea increases GLP-1 production by up to 70%.
That I'll be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1. We found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in a fasted state, which is pretty considerable.
That is Dr. Ben Bickman. That's not anybody. That's Dr. Ben Bickman talking about the tea. So how does this work? We wake up in the morning, you drink your tea. You're going to get 2 of them per day. I drink them back to back. You can drink one first thing in the morning. You can drink one middle afternoon. They're going to give you an amazing boost of energy. They're going to help extend the fast. They're going to obviously increase the efficiency at which you burn fat. They're going to increase your GLP-1 production. The tea is absolutely amazing. So you just drink 2 teas per day. I drink them back to back. I choose when the first one's gone, I drink the second one. Now, right before your heaviest meal of the day, and by heaviest meal, I mean the one with the most carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the problem. The one with the most carbohydrates, drink your balance.
Yep.
Pair that with an intermittent fasting schedule, as Dr. Tiffany was just talking about, and voila. Now, you want to order it, get with the person who brought you here. They will give you their link. And then finally, HSA, FSA approved. I keep forgetting to say that. You can use your HSA, FSA on that. Give it 90 days, and they offer your money back. If you are not completely satisfied, they will give you all of your money back. Jamal, how are you, brother?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm good, man. I apologize. I figured it was just better. Let's get that out of the way. And now we got you. I love this. And we got time to spare.
Awesome.
Talk to me, Goose. Tell us your story, brother.
All right. So 11 years ago, I was on my way to work. I'm an educator. I live in the DB area. And I could not see the signs. I couldn't see the names of buildings. I couldn't see if the light was red or green. And
Oh man.
I think he's having connection issues again. You there, brother? Are you there, Jamal? Oh, man. There you go. I can see you moving. Can you hear us? Oh, man. I love his story, too. I love his story. I'm going to leave him up here.
I'm here.
Oh, you got it?
I don't know what.
There you go.
happened to
Got
the
you back.
connection.
Go for it. Tell your story, brother.
Hear you.
Oh, Okay, good. Go ahead and tell your story, brother. Oh no. Okay, so I'm going to go to Plan B, and I think what we will do. Can you say something, Jamal? Can you hear me? Oh man. Okay, I'm going to adapt and overcome. I'm going to see if we can get Jamal on next Wednesday, and we'll see if we can get a better connection next Wednesday.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Are you there, Jamal? Can you hear us? Okay, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And
That's okay.
I love his story, but we'll get him back next week. We'll definitely get him back next week. So with that in mind, what I will do is I will open this up. I'm going to bring back Chandra and ask people if they have any questions at all. Does anybody have any questions for us at all? And I'm going to bring Jamal on. I'm going to open his camera back on and see if we can get his voice coming through. And if we can, I might just shut off our cameras and let him go.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear us, Jamal?
I can hear you perfectly clear. Can you hear me?
Okay, you know what? Yes, I can. Let's try this one more time, okay?
Okay. All right. So really quickly, I was on my way to work. This was like 11 years ago. I'm a teacher, and I teach in Washington, D.C. I live in the DMV area. And I couldn't see the streets. I couldn't see the names of buildings. I couldn't tell if the light was red or green. And I just remember being really scared. Like, what is happening? Why is my vision so blurry? So I called my supervisor at the time, and I said, I have to go to the hospital. Went to the hospital, and during the intake process, the nurse asked me, "Are you a diabetic?" I was like, "No, I'm not a diabetic. What are you talking about?" So we did the intake, and she did a finger stick, and my blood sugar was 500 at the time. It was 500. And I knew that when she said 500, I said, "This is it. This is, I have to punch this clock." I have a family history of type 2, and I knew a little bit about what type 2 was. So fast forward some years, I went into denial. I was very angry about it because prior to that, I had tried to keep up with my weight, tried to remain active, and I was even a trainer once upon a time. And so during this time, during this period of life, I had started to gain weight, and I became more and more of an introvert because I didn't want any of my previous clients to see me ballooning up after I hounded them about what they ate and exercising and all those things. So fast forward to about a year ago, I decided to have a very stern conversation with myself and said, "Look, it's time for you to get your health in order. You're getting older. It's time for you to prioritize your health." And that's what I did. And I started to look for ways to mitigate some of the health conditions that I had, because not only did I have type 2 diabetes, I also had high blood pressure as well as high cholesterol. And I was on a bag full of medications, and I was like, "You're way too young to be on all of these medications at such a young age." And if any of my friends or family are watching this, you guys didn't know this because I didn't share it with you. And I didn't share it with you because it was my cross to bear. But now I want to make sure that people know that there's help and there's hope. Over the past few months, since August, my A1C was at 10.3. Now my A1C is at 6.1. My blood pressure used to be 197 over 110. Now it's resting at a 110 over 70. So I'm doing much better now. I have a lot more energy. I can play with the kids at work. I can walk upstairs without getting winded. I can sit on the carpet with the kids where I wasn't able to do that before. And I did lose a significant amount of weight, but I wanted to focus on those non-scale victories because having that quality of life, having better mental clarity, better mood, positive outlook on life means more to me than the weight.
That is pretty amazing. 10 point, what did you say? 10 point something to 6.1.
It was a 10.3 down to a 6.1.
That's awesome.
Dr. Tiffany Marie, is 6.1, is that type 2 diabetic?
No, that's in pre-diabetes land. That's like gold star. He'd be on my board of awesome patients for sure.
Something that was once thought unattainable,
Right.
we're starting to see just happen time and time and time again. Brother, I love that story, man. And I don't know that I've even heard the entire story. I've gotten to know you pretty well, but I don't know that even I've heard that entire story. Okay, I want to start this open up. I want to open this up for.
Uh-oh.
What did I just do? Okay, I'm trying to use something that's not my mouse. Apparently, that was the wrong button. Okay, now let's see.
Such an awesome story.
Amanda asked, this is my beautiful bride, Amanda. Can you explain why fasting glucose in the morning might be high, even though nothing has been eaten for over 12 hours? I can explain that, but Dr. Tiffany, do you want to take that one since I think you're
Sure, why not? Hey, Amanda. So Down phenomenon is something we would talk about, particularly with people with diabetes, but this can happen to anyone. When we're waking up, cortisol and growth hormone actually signal the liver to let glucose come out the cell. So that can happen when you wake up. It's just because cortisol is what wakes us up. That spike in cortisol, we wake up. And so checking your sugars right when you wake up, they might be high because of that. Now, if your sugars drop too low while you're sleeping, your body tries to overcompensate. And if you're insulin resistant, you don't respond to that insulin well, you can also have your sugars drop too low, and then you have a rebound increase. The reality is, if we balance out the insulin and you start responding to that well, over time, this gets better and you don't have as much of a non-phenomenon issue.
That's why I like the way you explain it better than me. I want to put this one out to Chandra and Jamal. I want to see what they have to say about this. Following the protocol, usually how long before seeing results? What would you guys, as users of the product, what would you say to that answer right there? We'll start with Chandra.
About 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. Yeah.
Start feeling better?
Oh, no, immediately. Well, a couple of days, more energy, my mood, my appetite, was better. I didn't have a lot of cravings. I was following the protocol. The thing is, you have to drink water. Get your water in. That's the main thing. Get your protein in. Get your water in. Yeah.
How about Jamal? What would you say to that person?
I would say the very first day I felt better. I felt like weight lifted my mind. I'm thinking was a lot more clearer. And by day 3, I was up early. I was at 'em. I was a lot more productive.
Awesome.
That's true.
So I'm going to answer that in a more generic, not so fun way. I'm going to say that no two people are the same, and results vary by you, right? And are you as sick as that person, as that person, as that person? It really depends on how sick you are, okay, and how long you've been sick. You know, a lot of people have been given insulin to control their type 2 diabetes. Well, that just made the problem worse. We've got people that have been on insulin for 30 years. You know, like that person is going to have a harder road to travel than somebody who just got diagnosed type 2 diabetic last week. Okay, that's just the way it is. So there's you can't just say, I wish it was as easy as saying, oh, 1 week you'll have this, 1 week you'll have that. What I will always say is be consistent. Just start with the product. It's been scientifically proven. It does help. It does work. Some people just might have a little bit of a harder path, and some people might just have a really easy path. Maybe you nip this thing off in the very beginning, and it's going to be an amazing journey for you. But either way, it works. Be consistent with it. I hope that answers your question. Dr. Tiff, do you want to add to that at all?
Nope. I think that's a great answer.
You know what? Can you explain how skin tags are a sign of insulin resistance?
Yes, I sure can. Insulin likes to act like a growth hormone. So when it's too much insulin, it actually overgrow and make those little skin tags and even the dark patches on the skin. There's a study that came out in 2011 or 2012. It was by the University of Journal of Dermatology, Journal of the Association of Dermatology. Anyway, the point is, people know this. This is not new science. And actually, I saw some study to where when they cut off the skin tags, it was sugar in there. So if you have more than 5 or 6 of them, yes, very indicative of you having insulin resistance. And it just is.
Okay, so we are at the end. I want to start with Chandra again. Chandra, I'd like to ask this question towards the end of the live streams. There are a lot of people who are watching this who are incredibly skeptical. Mm-hmm. I want you to address that person right now. You got 30 seconds to talk to somebody who is incredibly skeptical of whether or not this thing's a gimmick or real. What would you say to them?
It's real. Just go for it. Go for it. It's real. Real life. On my phone. Sorry. It's real. Yeah, go for it. There are people that's having great results. I'm very skeptical. I wouldn't tell you wrong. Just go for it. Try it.
Love it. Jamal, how about you, brother?
I looked at this over a month and a half before I decided to purchase. And I'm so glad that I did. You have 90 days. Give yourself 90 days and just try it, because if you're not satisfied, the company will give you a 100% refund. You're worth it. So go for it. Do it.
You're worth it.
That's right.
You're worth it. I like that. I want that to be the theme of this live. You're worth it. I think all too often we forget that we are worth it. Brother, I appreciate it. Chandra, it was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Tiffany, another week down?
Yes, it is.
What do you say to somebody?
Well, you know what? You are your own best appreciating asset. You are the best appreciating asset you're ever going to have. Invest in it wisely. Invest in it to where you're going to be able to reverse chronic conditions, improve how your skin looks, reverse the clock of time. I mean, so many of us actually look like we're aging backwards, and we're moving around more, running around with our grandkids, our children, having better quality of life. Invest in yourself wisely.
Love it. You're worth it.
Yes.
Invest in it because you're worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I really can't beat that. I'm going to say go for it. You got a 90-day money-back guarantee. It's cost neutral. When you start skipping breakfast and you start skipping the snacks and you start skipping all that, it ends up being pretty cost neutral. And the benefits far outweigh the negative. So give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Give it a shot. 90 days. I'm willing to bet that you're going to be pretty dang satisfied if at the end of 90 days, for some reason, you're the one who isn't, you get all your money back. Give it a shot.
Yep.
There's nothing to lose. It is HSA and FSA approved, so you can use those funds to purchase it. And if you want to purchase it, get with the person who invited you to this live stream. If you stumbled across this live stream, get with either Dr. Tiff or I, and we will send you in the right direction, okay? So so if you didn't get invited here, you just stumbled across that, just get with either Dr. Tiff or I, and we will point you in the right direction. If you were directed here by somebody, then get with them, and they have a thing to they'll shed order.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
Dr. Tiff, you're a rock star. I will see you next Wednesday.
Yes, and you're a rock star too, Jan.